Seattle. Good morning, Vancouver. Good morning, Thailand, especially in south and north of Thailand. And yes, welcome to the program of the Dhamma of Rama and Wada Bunya Panya Nantara in Vancouver, Canada. Yes, today I would like to bring some the Buddha history regarding his places, different places after his approaching of enlightenment. We will see what happened after the Buddha enlightened. The 49 days or 7 weeks after his enlightenment. We may call it tracing the Buddha 7-week journey at the Mahabodhi Temple complex after his attaining the Nirvana. Let's talk a little bit about the complex or the Mahabodhi Temple complex at the place called Bodh Gaya. The temple complex is the pertinent pilgrimage site for the Buddha and for all the followers of the Gautama Buddha. A remarkable prince and sage, the Buddha told throughout his life to spiritually uplift as many as people that he could. Although there are few places related to his life journey. The Mahabodhi Temple complex is a really special site. It was constructed at the behest of the Emperor Ashoka in I think the 3rd century, and later it was renovated and expanded by the king of Gupta dynasty. If we want to take a look at the timelines of the temple complex at Bodh Gaya, the temple is one of the most prominent temples in India. The significant events that occur on its timelines are what we are going to discuss today. Around 531 BC, the Buddha attained the perfect state of enlightenment while being seated in the meditation under the Bodhi tree at the site of Mahabodhi Temple complex. Then 260 BC, the Emperor Ashoka visited at the site of the Bodhi tree to worship and made the first temple in honor of the Gautama Buddha. So the picture right behind me, that is a complex of the temple of the Mahabodhi Temple, as I mentioned. The Buddha attained enlightenment or the nirvana and spent a span of 7 weeks after that across the various spots where Mahabodhi Temple stands today. From battling the inner and external demons during his meditation to resist the various temptation that came on his way. The Buddha covered great milestones in his inner sack journey at different parts of the Mahabodhi temple. Ahead, we throw some light on 7 weeks he spent after the nirvana. So let's take a look at the different 7 weeks under different trees. The first tree that he sat under is the Bodhi tree at Bodh Gaya. The Bodhi tree is the most illustrious site that's situated to the west of the main temple. It's within a complex. It was believed to direct the descendant of the Bodhi tree, underneath which the Buddha stayed for the first week after his enlightenment. I remember when I was there, a lot of people pray, worship, and pray. So the second spot is named as the prayer hall. The Buddha spent his second week at the prayer hall, also known as the Animis Sajedi. It can be found towards the north of the central part of the race's platform. So this is the second spot after the Bodhi tree. The jewel ambulatory. This jewel ambulatory is also called Ratana Chakra. Ratana Chakrama. It is very famous for being site where the Buddha spent his third week of his internal journey, walking 18 steps back and forth. It is located near to the north wall of the main temple. Then come to the Ratanakara Jedi for his fourth week. It's located towards the northeast near the enclosure. Ratanakara Jedi is a place where the Buddha spent his fourth week. The Ajapara Necro tree, where he spent his fifth week. During the fifth week, the Buddha was meditating under this tree, Ajapara Necro tree, and he answered the question posed by Brahmins. And then he spent more time as a lotus pond. The sixth week he was spent by that was spent by the Gautama Buddha at the lotus pond, which is situated outside the enclosure to the south of the temple complex. But unfortunately, this pond, the original pond, was not there anymore. The pond that I saw when I went there last time was created by the government in order to spot. The government want to spot that this area used to be the pond that the Buddha used to set for his 6 week. So the original pond was not there anymore. And then the Layatana tree, this was the last one. The Buddha was here during his 7th week of the meditation. A tree has been planted to remark his site. It is actually located towards the southeast of the temple. So the main temple of the Bodhi temple complex at the Bodh Gaya is really a masterpiece that showcase the base of the Buddhism architectural creativities. Whether you are a Buddhist or not, you will find this place very interesting to visit. So if you have a chance, you can come to visit and be blessed, with one of the most religion places in India. That's what I really really appreciate the people going to what we call it the Buddhist pilgrimage to a different one of the 4 pilgrimage in India that belong to the Buddhist as a religion, one of the greatest religion in the history of the India. So the very interesting point that if we want to scan into the different stages after the Buddha enlightenment, we can review that during the first week of after his enlightenment, 7 days, the Buddha was contemplate and think back about what happened for his past life in order. And then he spoke to himself that whatever exists when you see what exists clearly, that is you That was how you remove your doubt, and you became a person who know the cause of what happened. So this is what he spoke actually to the Brahmin also after he come out from the first week. So what actually the Buddha discovered and spoke to himself and also to the Brahmins is about dependent origination, cause and effect. That has become a really great teaching in the Buddhism, and it's only taught in the Buddhism. And then after he discovered, he recall about the dependent origination, he thinking back and forth. That's how he become really clear about his knowledge in the past, in the present moment, and also he projecting to the future that it will be happen under the principle of the dependent origination. So this is what he contemplate actually for the first week, followed by the second week. We call it it was called Animisajediya, where he perform his walking into northeast of the remember the history telling that he walked northeast, and then he turned around and looked back to the Bodhi tree, and then he stood there without closing his eyelids for 7 days to contemplate, to recollect to the event that used to happen during his past life. So the great knowledge that happened during his walking, and he stopped and stood there without closing his eyelids, was a huge knowledge amount of his life history. What he saw has become the truth, or we call it the Satya Dhamma, which is really pure knowledge, and that can clarify the cloud, that clarify all the doubt of life. And at this moment he became very blissful, and that's how we call it the happiness, freedom and happiness after his enlightenment during the second week. And that's why it's known as the Animisajediya. And then after all he performs the walking meditation for 7 days. The pace was between the two sides, between the Animisajedi and the Bodhi tree. This is where he performed his walking meditation. if you go there, you will see that there will be a huge piece of concrete, the concrete piece that lifted from the ground about 4 feet, and has been designed with the lotus. I think it was around 19 lotus, if I remember right. We call, and then they call this one as Ratana Jongkrom. It is where the Buddha, Jongkrom means the walking meditation. It's become it become a really very great event, one of the great events after his enlightenment. So this is what happened during the 3rd week, and then during the 4th week, the story told that there was a deva or angel created and offered him, the Buddha, the crystal seed. We call it the crystal asana, or a seed. In the north of the Bodhi tree. Then the Buddha went up and sat down and contemplate about the Abhidhamma. The great Dhamma was contemplated during the week 4 or the 4th week after his enlightenment. And this place has known under the name of Ratanakara Jediya. So if we take a look at this spot, we will understand that actually the Abhidhamma, or one of the 3 Pitaka or Tripitaka was there already at the beginning of the Buddha life, of the Gautama Buddha. And then followed by the 5th week, the Buddha crossed the river of Neranjala to the different site, to the tree called Achapalikota, and then he sat there and enjoy his blissfulness, the liberation of the happiness, or the happiness of the liberation, whatever you can call. It's a freedom, it's a peace, it's a happiness. During he was sitting under the tree, or in Thai we call it Ton Sai. This is Ton Sai. There was a really great event. The big snake is the king of the snake. No, actually not the king of snake at this time. Actually, there was a Mara, the demons. Mara means the enemy. They try to challenge him with the lusty, with the craving, that want to challenge him how he will react to the lusty being and the craving being. But the Buddha can win over the lusty and the craving of the Mara. This was an indication of the Buddhahood that free from the craving and the lusty, even from the anger that come and want to test the Buddha, that the Buddha is already the special man that free from all the cause of the suffering. For example, the lusty, the craving, the anger, or even the delusion. So the Mara want to try, want to test. And the Buddha passed all those lusty, craving, and all delusion. And then he spoke to himself that he will never come back to be defeated. He is the one who have a great victory for life match. Then come to the sixth week. He spent the 6th week having a happiness of the liberation at the ponds. And this pond is called as the Mujarin. Actually, the Mujarin is the name of the tree. In Thai language, we call it Tonjik. But unfortunately, this pond and the tree are not there anymore in around the area, in the complex. But the government of India has replaced that by making a man-made pond in honor of the Buddha enlightenment. The history was something like during the Mujarin tree was growing along the side of the pond, and that's why that pond is called the Mujarin pond. During the 6th week, there was a really heavy rain storm, and the Mujarin, which is living, is the king of the snake that's living under the waters, want to offer the Buddha a cover in order to protect the Buddha from the heat of the rainstorm. The king of snakes offer him because the king of snakes did not want the Buddha get sick physically from the heat of the rainstorm. So he he covered the Buddha body with his body 7 rounds, cover his whole body. And as he is a king of the snake, he opened his head to cover the Buddha head. And that's how one of the image or designs of the Buddha image today in Thailand and all over the world has been seeing. We call it นาคปก พระนาคปก one of the best, one of the important designs of the Buddha image today. After he's cover the whole body of the Buddha, and then the rainstorm stopped. The Buddha was saved from the rainstorm, and then he disappeared, and then he reappeared as a young man and sat down in the front of the Buddha and worshiped the Buddha. And the king of snake in the history of the Buddha was, and that's how the king of snake, or we call it Naka, become a really size of, has become a symbolic tradition in southeast of Thailand today. And most of the local people who living in the northeast really paying respect or worship a Nakara. The story was really come from the 6th week of the Buddha after his enlightenment. During the 6th week of after his enlightenment, the Buddha spoke to himself and to the people, or we can call it one of his teaching today. He said that those who are physically and mentally in peace, you will find the truth. And moreover, you have your physical and mental in peace more and more. The truth will keep appearing. And this is the principle of what we call it the concentration meditation or samatha kammatthana in Buddhism. It has become a great teaching. It's a great methodology of action, activity, the main activities that the Buddhists performing today about the meditation. So that week or the 6th week after his enlightenment has become a great, has offered or has become a great teaching regarding the meditation, regarding the Buddhist meditation that we are practicing today. On the ground of the physical and mental peace. We call it the tranquility period. In Pali, we call it passaddhi, the peacefulness of the mind, the peacefulness of the body. In Zen Buddhism, they call it dhyana, or the meaning of the Zen that was actually originated during the Buddha time, the end of the Buddha period, the end of the Buddha life, because before we have in Buddhist year 1. So after the 6th week of his meditation, about his realization about the Dhamma, especially the principle of how to get life, peace, or the meditation or the Buddhist meditation principle, then he come down to the 7th week, the last week after his enlightenment. It's called Raja Yatana place. He sat under the Rajayatana tree. In Thai language, we call it Mai Ke. This is the last week after his enlightenment. After he has been fasting for 49 days. So at this spot, there were 2 young men who were traders from Myanmar, from Burma. The first young man is named as Tapusa. The second young man is called named Palika. They saw the Buddha was sitting under the tree, under the Rajayatana tree or Mai Gate. And he saw above his head, above the Buddha head, there was a lighting coming out from his head. The radiation, the sparkling or lighting that going out from the Buddha head. So they were both surprised. What happened? They talked to themselves that this is not something ordinary. This man must be a really special man. So he went and sat down in front of the Buddha, and something in their mind that this man must not be the ordinary man, has to be a really special man, or they thought that this must be a god. So they both decided to offer the Buddha the food. And then the Buddha told them that I am a Buddha. I had enlightened, and I will offer you a teaching, my great teaching. And then he started a teaching, a great teaching to the traders or to young men. And then they both had become a first two men, two lay person in Buddhism, or we call it Ubasaka. The Tapusa and the Palika were the first two lay people in the Buddhism. They both declare themselves as the Buddhist or the lay person in Buddhism. And they are both from they are both from Myanmar or the Burma that come to perform a trading back and forth between India and Burma. India and Burma were sharing the border. During that time, they were trading between Burma and India, walking through the border. At this spot, before two young men left the Buddha, they asked the Buddha the gift, or maybe we call it as a souvenir that he want to keep as a memory that they both met Buddha. So the Buddha gave them his hair. He lift his hand over the head and he scroll down. Along with his scrolling down, there were the eight pieces of hair, and then he offered that hair. He gave that hair to the traders, the Myanmar or the Burmese trader, and then they both take that hair back to Burma. And then when they go back to Burma, they both announced to the public that they met the Buddha, and that's how the Buddhism has began in Burma, and that's why we have the Burmese people have the JD Chawedagang in Burma today. So this is the what we known as the Vimutti Sukha, or the liberation, or the happiness of the liberation. It can be considered as the happiness moment of a life of the Buddha, the greatest moment where the Buddha having not only attaining his nirvana, but the feeling or the vedana of the happiness was the peak, was a really supreme stage of the feeling that one can attain. The 49 days of the happiness of the liberation without nutrition, without food, that insisting that we, the body and mind are really separated compartment. And this is how the Rupa and Nama teaching will appear, were taught for the meditation practice. For me, it has offered the great teaching that body and mind are separated. And the feeling of the happiness are basically from the mind, not the body. The Buddha has mentioned clearly during his 49 days of fasting that he discovered and he repeat, he review, and he declare, he announced the truth. He announced the methodology of the meditation. That once, that anyone, when you have your body in peace, when you have your mind in peace, you will understand, you will see the truth. It gives me a really great sense of teaching that how we proceed our life with three principles. The first piece is the morality, the sila, that offer you the physical peace. And then the second piece or the second principle is about the mental peace, or we call it samadhi, the concentration. When you have your physical body, when you have your mind, both are in peace, calm, you will see everything clearly. It is compare as when you go to the dark room, you open the door of the dark room and then you turn on the light. The darkness is gone. The bright light is begin. So the lighting, and that's how we call it enlightenment, because the darkness is gone. The misunderstanding is gone. The doubt is gone. The only thing appear after his enlightenment is the panya, or the wisdom, the lightning, the lighting that can make everybody, including the Buddha himself, see the truth. So this is what I brought for you today, to insist that the happiness, the true happiness, is the happiness of the mind that has been revealed, that has been recalled by the Buddha after his enlightenment. And then he stayed there without food, without nutrition for 49 days or 7 weeks after his enlightenment. So this should be a piece of really great knowledge to confirm that the true happiness is the happiness of the mind. Yeah, so I think this is all about me today. I would like to pass this back to Ajahn Chawachai, please.
โยมสรุปจบไปแล้ว
Yeah. So let me make it clear that the teaching of the Buddha was, if we take a look deeper and deeper, we will see that the teaching of the Buddha was really outstanding from place to place, from spot to spot, during his 45 years of teaching. And we consider in Buddhism, we consider that the life before his enlightenment is a light of bodhisattva, and the light after his enlightenment until the last breath of the Buddha, the 45 years period, is a light of the Buddha Gautama, the light of our great teaching of the world. This was how it inspired me and everyone who come to the Buddhism. So that's all about me today. I would like to thank you everybody.
Vinoja Averahandu Avyavajahandu Anigahandu Sukhi Adhana Pariharandu Nima Sumediyarane Sabe Yogino Averahandu Avyavajahandu Anigahandu Sukhi Adhana Pariharandu Ima Samdeyarane Sabe Beku Samane Raja Upasana Upasita Yoja Averahandu Avyavajahandu Anigahandu Sukhi Adhana